What happened to Free?
Initially pals in the R&B group Black Cat Bones, Paul Kossoff and Simon Kirke decided to separate. Kossoff was at the Fickle Pickle, an R&B bar in London's Finsbury Park, where he overheard vocalist Paul Rodgers performing with the band Brown Sugar. He requested if he may jam with Rodgers on stage after being deeply moved. Kirke joined them as they started looking for a fourth person. Andy Fraser, who had previously been performing with John Mayall and the Bluesbreakers, was suggested to the group by Alex Corner. The newly formed band received the moniker Free from Corner as well. The group's debut performance took place on April 19, 1968 at the Nag's Head Bar in Battersea, London, which was located at the intersection of York Road and Plough Road. They were all rather young members. Lead guitarist Paul Kossoff was 17, the drummer Simon Kirke was 18, the lead singer Paul Rodgers was 15, and the bassist Andy Fraser was 15. Tons of Sob, their debut album, was released by November of that year for Island Records, but it wasn't released until the following year. The album features studio versions of many of their early live performances and chronicles their first 6 months of being together. At the end of 1968, as The Who was playing a brief theater tour with Arthur Brown, they opened a few shows for them in order to promote their upcoming first album. Free, the group's second studio album, was created and released by Island Records in 1969. Their 1970 album, Fire and Water, which debuted at number 1 on the UK rock music charts, number 2 on the UK singles chart, and number 4 on the US Billboard Hot 100, was a great success. In contrast to their prior albums, Tons of Sobs and Free. The album became the most popular Free release, where it peaked at number 2 in the UK and number 17 in the US rankings. The song All Right Now reached number 1 in over 20 countries, and ASCAP honored it in 1990 for having had more than 1 million radio plays in the US by late 1989. The British music industry presented Paul Rodgers with an award in 2000 when All Right Now reached 2 million radio plays in the UK. Despite their name, the band declined to play for Free at the struggling Fun City Festival in July 1970. Phil Lynott, Kirke's replacement in Black Cat's Bones, played the festival as Shagrat's drummer. Their fourth studio album, Highway, was hurriedly recorded in September 1970. Highway had a mediocre chart performance, peaking at number 190 in the US and number 41 in the UK. Fraser and Rodgers had disagreements, and Rodgers felt unheard, which led to the band's breakup in 1971. This led to the release of the live album dubbed Free Live. To save Kossoff from his escalating drug addiction, the band put their differences aside and reassembled in early 1972. Free at Last was then published that same year in June. Fraser quit the band in the middle of 1972 because Kossoff could never be counted on to perform at performances or even just to show up. The remaining members hired John Rabbit Bundrick, a keyboardist, and Tetsu Yamachi, a bassist from Japan who had previously worked with Kossoff and Kirke during the initial split of Free. Together they recorded Heartbreaker, which would be Free's final album with Kossoff, Kirke, Tetsu, and Rabbit. For a 1973 US tour, Kossoff was replaced by Wendell Richardson, but Free soon disbanded permanently. Backstreet Crawler was founded by Kossoff, followed by Bad Company by Rodgers and Kirke, Sharks by Fraser, and the Andy Fraser Band by Rodgers and Kirke. The rest of the Doors wanted Rodgers to take his position after Jim Morrison passed away in 1971. Robbie Krieger made a special trip to England to make the job offer to him. The moment, according to Rodgers, passed since he was off the grid and in a very remote region at the time. When Ian Gillan quit the band in the latter part of 1973, Rodgers was invited to take over as Deep Purple's lead vocalist. He turned down their invitation to launch Bad Company. The first artist signed to Led Zeppelin's new record label Swan Song was Bad Company. Their songs included Feel Like Making Love, Can't Get Enough, Shooting Star, and Run with the Pack. They went on to tour from 1973 until 1982. On several songs, Rodgers played an instrument. He played the piano on Run with the Pack, the guitar on Rock and Roll Fantasy, and all the instruments on the ballad Seagull. Up until Rodgers departed in 1982, Bad Company had 6 platinum records, with Rodgers citing the need to spend more time with his young family as his reason of leaving. In late 1975, Kossoff's health had improved, so he was happy to accept Rodgers and Kirk's invitation to perform with them for 2 nights. Backstreet Crawler and Bad Company were scheduled to headline a British tour in promotion of their second album on April 25, 1976. But once again, Kossoff's drug abuse led to a sharp downturn in the guitarist's health. Kossoff died from a pulmonary embolism on a trip from Los Angeles to New York City on March 19, 1976, when he was only 25 years old. Rodgers explored the heavy blues stylings of Free once more in his solo career during the 1980s and 1990s, as well as in the bands The Firm and The Law, after splitting with Bad Company in 1982. He then collaborated as a vocalist with 2 of the 3 remaining Queen members, Brian May and Roger Taylor. Queen and Paul Rodgers released The Cosmos Rocks, their debut studio album, in September 2008. While on tour with Queen, Rodgers also performed songs from the bands Free and Bad Company, in addition to the classic Queen classics and brand new songs from their most current album. Kirk became a member of the Wildlife Band. Around this time, they undertook a UK tour in support of the Michael Schenker Group. Kirk served as their drummer on Wildlife's self-titled album, which was primarily written by Steve and Chris Overland, and produced by their former bandmate, Ralphs from Bad Company. Despite being contracted to Swan Song Records, Led Zeppelin's record company, and having Kirk play a prominent role, the album didn't do well commercially. Chris and Steve Overland, the founding members of Wildlife, went on to have more success with the group FM. He gave his first performance at the Temecula Valley Balloon and Wine Festival on June 5, 2010, to kick off a brief tour of California. Rodgers and his band made their grandstand stage debut on June 12th at the San Diego County Fair in Del Mar, California 1 week later. This was followed by casino performances on June 17th in Lemoore and on June 18th in Santa Ynez. In April 2011, Rodgers went on a solo UK tour with Joe Elliott's Down and Outs. For a future live DVD release, the concert on April 28th at Birmingham's National Indoor Arena was recorded. Rodgers was presented with an Ivor Novello Award in May 2011 for his outstanding contribution to British music. In addition to Billy Joel, Garth Brooks, B.B. King, and Kiss, Rodgers revealed that he would be contributing to a Paul McCartney tribute album. The album, named The Art of McCartney, was published in late 2014 despite being originally scheduled for a late 2010 release. The song Let Me Roll It by Wings from their 1973 album Band on the Run is covered by Rodgers. On their New Year's Eve concert in Seattle, Washington, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra featured Rodgers once more. Can't Get Enough and All Right Now were performed by Rodgers. From 2012 through 2016, Rodgers and Kirk went on another tour with Bad Company. On March 16, 2015, Andy Fraser passed away. In May 2017, Paul Rodgers set out on a Free Spirit UK tour to honor the music of Free by playing only songs from the Free discography. The final performance from the Free Spirit tour, which was filmed at the Royal Albert Hall on May 28, 2017, was caught on a CD/DVD combo that was released in 2018. 2018 summer tour dates for Rodgers and Jeff Beck also happened that year. To support Lynyrd Skynyrd's first leg of the Last of the Street Survivors tour, Bad Company reunited in 2019. Thank you for watching, and like and subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know, Who do you want me to see do a video on next on the channel? And give me some facts about Free that I failed to mention. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.